Hello there and welcome. My name is Linda and this is my channel Linda T70. Really good to have your company today. Thank you if you're a returning viewer, and if you're new, a warm welcome to you and hope you stick around. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do today, I think this is going to be quite a short video. I came up with an idea for today's video, and the more I've thought about it, I don't think it's a particularly good idea. So I'm going to have a bit of a rethink on that. I did want to give you an update on the doctor's consultation I had, all to do with the potentially taking these weight loss jabs. I'm still thinking about it, and if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that I had a face-to-face consultation with my GP. It was yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? Tuesday it was, a couple of days ago. And because I wanted just to ask her what her opinion was. The reason I'd been in contact with her in the first place wasn't to do with the injections, it was to do with the palpitations that I get, which have been diagnosed as non-sort of life-threatening, but they were getting worse, so I just wanted those checked out. So when I went back to her on Tuesday, I've had a series of I've had a blood test, and they've done a series of tests for different things, and it doesn't appear that there's anything particularly wrong with me that's showing up with my blood test, apart from slightly elevated cholesterol. And I've had a conversation with somebody at the surgery about this, and they've given me some advice on slight changes in diet and everything. Well, that's fine, that's all underway. But I wanted to know actually what was causing the elevated sort of level of palpitations. And so obviously it's just like everything, isn't it, when you go to the doctors? Well, perhaps it's just me it happens to, I don't know, but it's never quite satisfactory, is it? So I went to see her, and I said, yeah, I sort of recapped on what I've just said to you, really. I said, I've spoken to somebody about change of diet, blah, 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 blah. But I didn't know whether I still needed to go ahead and perhaps potentially have an ECG or have a heart monitor fitted, which I've done before. You know, this happened a few years ago when I was originally diagnosed with this ectopic heartbeat thing. And she said, well, you should have had your ECG done. And I said, well, no, I did all the blood tests as you asked, and I didn't have, no one's told me to get an ECG. Oh, yes, you should have done. I would have said to you on our last conversation that you need to make an appointment to get an ECG done. And I'm thinking, well, do I stand here and call this, or sit here and call this woman an absolute liar, or maybe she's right and I just forgot or didn't hear it? Which I can be a bit ditzy sometimes, and you know, that there's too much information, some of it gets filtered out. But I did think, I know the drill on this. I've had this done before, so it's not something that I wouldn't, if I was told to do it, I would have had it done. Anyway, so I've got now an appointment to have an ECG next week, which is fine, and once she's looked at the results of that, she'll decide if I have to have this monitor fitted for another 24-hour thing, and if I do, fine, and whether my beta blocker medication will need to be adjusted. So that's all fine. So at the end of the consultation, I did ask her, sorry if you weren't really interested in that last bit, but I do talk too much. I did ask her about her opinion on the jabs, the weight loss jabs, and it was kind of what I expected, really. I wouldn't say she was massively, oh yes, do it. She said I wouldn't get offered the medication on the NHS, which I didn't think for a minute that I would. She said, well, really, you can achieve all this with losing weight, keeping your exercise levels up or improving your exercise levels, etc., etc. And I said, well, I know that you can't tell me what to do directly, but what's your broad feeling? Would I be a suitable candidate for these? And she said, well, yes, she said, but you can just, and she reiterated the whole eating better and moving more situation. But she said, if you do go ahead, she didn't say I shouldn't, because related to the heart thing, she didn't. I asked her specifically, and she said that wouldn't make any difference. I did say, well, I've read that the jab. Can't really say injection, can you? The jab protects you against certain cancers and heart disease or cardiovascular disease. And she said, well, that it doesn't have anything in it to protect you against that. It's just literally the fact that you would be losing weight, and a lot of cancers are associated with obesity. So that was fair enough. That's something I got straight in my head. So by and large, she didn't really tell me anything or say anything I didn't know already, apart from that. I did think perhaps there was something in these jabs that protected you from various other illnesses, but there doesn't seem to be. It's just the whole weight loss thing is beneficial. So I haven't made my mind up yet, because obviously it's a large amount of money to give to something every month that hopefully would work, but there's no guarantees. I suppose you can only try. But I do wonder about justifying the expense. So I'm still sort of undecided about it. It doesn't really... I don't really feel as though I'm obese. I know I am. I know I'm, my dress size is a large dress size. I'm a size 20, UK 20 if you've never seen me before. And I'm aware that, yes, I'm fat. But I don't feel it on a day-to-day basis. I don't struggle to do things because of my weight. I mean, walking up 100 steps, or things where you have to kind of climb things, I wouldn't be very good at. I mean, I can get up a ladder and stuff, but and I can walk on fairly level ground for quite a while without, I don't get breathless or anything like that. So, and I know I don't know if I still can, but I have been able to, in the past, by cutting things out of my diet, I have been able to lose weight. But it's I've never really been one for diets. It's usually just been cutting out this and cutting out that. Not for a long time have I been on any sort of diet. My mother was always on diets. She wasn't particularly big, but she was always on diets. And my sister used to sort of gain weight and lose weight a bit, and I have really, but it's kind of weird. It bothers me, but it doesn't. But I was just thinking it's going to be more beneficial in my older, I mean, I'm already in my 70s, and it's going to be even more beneficial if I weigh a bit less. So that's really why I want to do it. It's not because I'm depressed or don't like what I see in the mirror. I mean, I've never been that crazy about what I see in the mirror. But I can buy decent clothes and I can still do most stuff, but I just think it's the whole long-term thing. So I'm seriously thinking about it. I know I had lots of you tell me your experiences. Lots of you have been using it or knew one of these drugs, or knew someone that was, and it was really interesting to read all your thoughts. And lots of you said to me, well, if you're not really that bothered, don't do it. And it's not a question of being desperate. It's just a question of I'm wondering if that might be a good way to go. But then of course I know once you stop taking this stuff, you're prone to put weight back on. But I'm just hoping by then I would have kind of got into the swing of eating less and eating differently. I'm aware that you have to do that. So it's a bit of a long-winded explanation for you, but yes. So I will keep you posted on if I do go on these drugs. I'm just still, if they if I could get them on the National Health Service, or they were very inexpensive to buy, I probably would. Although putting stuff in your body that you don't necessarily need, it's not always the right thing to do, is it? Anyway, so that's enough of that. The other thing, I was going to talk to you today about a couple of things, and did I already say this? No short-term memory problems here. I was going to talk to you about something because, but I've kind of decided I don't really know enough about this topic to cover it. But I'll just tell you the reason I was thinking about talking about. Well, let me start this way. Me and my current husband, we were driving somewhere last week in the car, and the radio was on in the car, and there was a radio station whereby they were inviting people to ring in and tell their significant other, if you like, pass on a message to them. And this woman rang in, and she didn't read the message out on air, he did, the DJ did. And she'd been with her husband for, I don't know, 10 years, and she was so in love with him, and how wonderful he was, and how happy she was, and how he was her best friend and her soulmate. And I'm kind of thinking, because I don't really think like that about people. But, it was all sort of very gushy, and, fair play to her, if that's how she feels, providing it's all reciprocated, but by her husband. That's great, isn't it? So I turned to current husband and I said, am I your best friend? He went, no. He said, you're my wife. And it just got me thinking. I mean, I wasn't at all surprised he said this, because he does come out, he's not, dear, I didn't really want to go down this rabbit hole, but he's, neither of us, I don't think, are particularly what I'd call romantic. He does nice things for me on occasion, makes nice gestures. I can't say he doesn't. And I do the same for him. But I wouldn't say we sit and wax lyrical about each other all the time, because most of the time he's irritating me. He knows this. I'm not telling you anything I don't say to him. If we wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock, by 6:30 he's annoying me about something. And but the point is, would I want to get rid of him? No, I'd rather be with him than be without him. So to me, that's loving someone and wanting to be with them. So and I I thought long and hard about this. Oh yeah, I said, well, what does that mean about me just being your wife? And he gave one of his classic answers as, well, you're my wife. And then that subject was kind of closed. So I started thinking I'd do a video about love second time around. And then I thought, what do am I a bit weird that I don't really think of anybody as, because I don't think of him as my soulmate. I didn't really know what a soulmate was. I know people say that all the time, but it's not something. I wouldn't say he is, because we're so different. We are good with things that we've got in common, and there's enough of those things to make us want to be together. But there are so many other things where we are miles and miles apart. And I even looked up, because, I like to do a little bit of research for my videos. I looked up our, sorry I'm fiddling with my hair, by the way, but my fringe is getting really long. And sorry, my hair's a bit weird today, because let's not go down that rabbit hole either. I thought, well, what does a soulmate mean? And so I looked up the definition, and so I written on my pad, I wrote, can your spouse or partner be your best friend? And he never did get round to telling me who he thought his best friend was, but it certainly isn't me because I'm his wife. I don't know really what is the definition of a best friend? I suppose it's somebody you can go to if you need something. See, I've got some friends and I think they're lovely and I'm really fond of them, and I hope that is what they'd say about me. But I don't really go to them and tell them my troubles, or ask their. I suppose I might ask their opinion about something more than their advice. I don't really do that, I don't think. But and I suppose I do that with him. I ask his opinion about stuff, and usually I regret it because I get a bit of a lot. Keep saying to him, "You're not my dad. You're not my dad." He goes on and on and on about something. But so I suppose they can be. But when you meet someone who's going to be potentially your partner, when you probably don't know that the first day you meet them, do you? You're going to find a string of things that keep you interested in that person, aren't you? So I'm sure there are women and men out there, or whoever, who meet somebody and the person they meet is just everything they can't stand, but there's something about them that makes them want to be with them. But I suppose broadly speaking, the people, I've only had 3 long-term relationships, but I've been married to 2 of those people, and I think when you first meet someone there's something that makes your heart go a little bit fluttery, but it's kind of getting to know somebody and knowing what they think about things, and if you find that they you can chat about stuff, or even if you disagree about things, you can hear that person's opinion and still respect it if you're never going to think the way they do, and vice versa. So you kind of do that sort of thing. So anyway, I looked up our star signs. Now I'm Libra and he is Aries. Current husband, that is Aries, and I would say that I don't really believe in any astrology. I mean, it's just, you can't have every single person born around the time of year I was born around in any given year that have all got the same characteristics. But then if you, sometimes you talk yourself into it, don't you? You think, well, actually, I am very good at doing this, and oh yes, my star sign, yes, we're all very good, conversationalists or something, and they go, oh yes, I'm a wonderful. I'm not talking about my personal star sign, I'm not, but you can sort of talk yourself into believing it. But when I looked at ours, it said that we're opposites, but opposites attract, and I thought that was quite amusing because we don't like anything really the same. I remember when we first met, what drew me to him was the fact that the way he'd got children and I'd got children that were older, and that was a big thing that we had in common. So it was things in common really, and that was the main thing. And then some of the views we had on how we wanted our lives to be, we have that in common. So we've got like a sort of a bedrock of stuff that we've got in common, but everything else is just, we don't like the same films. We like some of the same food, but there's lots of stuff he doesn't like. He'll force it down, but he doesn't, enjoy it. Things that I like. I'm a bit too boring for him, really. He hasn't actually said that, but I am. He'd like to do more of some things, and then I sort of don't really want to do them. And I don't know, just with me out of pity, I think. But anyway, so I did look up the soulmate definition, just if you're interested in this. I'm not going to rattle on about this for ages. She says rattling on about it. But so I read on the Google that the definition of a soulmate is a person with whom you share a deep connection and mutual understanding. And there was some sort of subheading. So number 1 was, you feel an immediate deep connection and mutual understanding with that person. Then there was, you understand each other without needing to say anything. You grow together as a person and you feel aligned, like your life is in sync with your soulmate. Well, I think a lot of that is a bit of a load of old, what's that word I used before? Load of old rubbish, perhaps. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, I suppose you could pick out odd things in there, but it just sounds all a bit sort of, I don't know, nonsense to me. I just think you either like someone or you don't. I also saw that a couples therapist, I wrote this down as well, a couples therapist gave 9 signs that you're in love and why they matter. This was on a website called businessinsider.com. I don't quite know why they were talking on Business Insider, came up, but I'll just read a couple because, you know, it's all fairly... If you're in love with someone, you wake up and go to sleep thinking about them. Well, I think that probably does happen. Yeah, probably that does happen. But it's not always that, you know, oh, I can't wait for them to get into bed and start snoring with me thing, is it? It's always going to be up and switching his CPAP machine on in a minute. I'm going to try and get to sleep before that starts. You know, so I suppose that's sort of true. You may crave them physically, start planning a future and want to show affection. I thought that was a bit of an odd one. I mean, craving people physically is something that mostly happens right at the beginning, isn't it, of a relationship? And you know, you I know husbands never, or men never really want it to change, but you know, it kind of does, doesn't it? Because when you're young, you have children and things change, and when you're old, you have the menopause, and that all changes you as well, doesn't it? Being in love also means you're willing to put in the work to see the relationship thrive. Well, I suppose that's something you do without really thinking about it. Unless someone's actually driving you mad or you want to run off with the milkman or something, you probably are doing that on a daily basis without really thinking about it. You have the urge to take care of them and provide them with comfort and things that you know they'll appreciate. And I don't think the word urge is needed in that sentence, is it? Because if you love someone, you do care for them and you do care about them and you look after them. Well, I think people do. I think I look after people I love, and I think I look after current husband and make sure that his life is as, because he goes out and does a job and I don't, and I make sure it's as pleasant at home, and you know, I come in and greet him when he comes in at night. But you know, I think I do. And if he's moaning about his back, I'll give him a tablet. And then, oh, the latest thing was his toe was hurting him. I don't know. I think I need a medal. Yeah, that's all this sort of stuff. There's a load of old twaddle, that's the word I used in a previous video. Load of old twaddle really spoken about this. And you do wonder, don't you, when you have your children, what you pass on them to be like in their relationships, whether it's I mean, I was very aware as a child that my parents, and my sister was as well, the two of us were very aware that our parents were devoted to each other and they put themselves before us, really, which was the right way about it, because of course you have your children and at some point they're going to go and leave you, and you're just going to be with the other, you know, your co-parent. And that's sometimes when things go wrong, isn't it? People have children and they forget about being in a couple, and their children go and they put everything into their children, and then, you know, it sort of kind of all goes, and they're sort of, women weep at home because they're not washing their children's underwear anymore because they've moved out and started their life. And of course that's your job, isn't it? Your job is to have your children, bring them up to the best of your ability to make them nice people and give them the confidence to go off and have a life of their own. And then of course they never come visit. But yeah, so but you know, until they have their own families, really, you don't know what you've instilled into them as far as relationships go. So you know, that's quite interesting. Hopefully, you know, we've done all right with our kids. They're all with someone anyway, so that's good. Well, I'm sort of going on a bit too long about this. It was just, so I was going to talk about this, and in the absence of me having any prep for anything else alternative to this, I thought I'd just go through it a bit with you. So, you know, let me know if you think you've got a soulmate, or if you're the best friends with your partner, or whether it's kind of how I feel. We're two people that got together. You know, we deeply care about each other. We love each other. Well, I can only speak for me. I think he would agree with that. We do our best by each other, and you know, yeah, I think he's a good man, and I do my best for him, so I suppose that's all you can hope for. Now, I might not put this video out, because if I get something else to talk about, I'll just substitute it for this, but I did want to try and get something out for Friday. Now, tomorrow it will be Friday, and I'm going to go to the range with my friend, so I might have, if I find some nice stuff there that I want to show you, I'll just change. I mean, I don't know, I'm telling you this because you'll either see this or you won't you? But alternatively, that'll be Monday's video. And because the garden is the big thing at the moment, and I'm waiting for this soil to be delivered, which isn't coming until Saturday, and I want to get some plants planted, and I want to buy some more perennials for the garden, and so we can get it finished, and then I can show you what it's like, and then move on to something else. Anyway, thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for just hanging in there if you have. And thank you for your support with my other videos as well. So yeah, let me know if you've got any comments on today's video. And as I say, with the weight loss jab thing, you know, if I decide to go with that, I'll fill you in, and I'll let you know if anything happens on the heart palpitation front. So you take care, see you on the next video, and bye bye for now. Bye.